sorry. And I clicked on this particular fight without checking, but I think it's Montel Jackson versus what do you call him? Let me actually just verify. It's Montel Jackson versus Daniel Marcos. Yes. So Montel Jackson. Let's actually first look at the records and who they fought. Hopefully, my internet does not give out on me. So it's still opening. So I feel like Montel Jackson is a little bit better, but in all honesty, I'm a little bit worried because Daniel Marcos is undefeated. So right now, I'm going to actually go through their records first, and then we'll get to the breakdown once I'm done with their records, because I think it's going to help us tell a story as far as if that performance against the people that they've beaten warrants. Okay, Montel Jackson in his last fight beat Damon Blackshear. I mean that win is aging quite nicely because Damon Blackshear has looked really good in his previous fights. Daniel um, Wafex, Daniel wins easy. I mean, we'll see, man. I don't think so. I actually, this is probably the only fight that I'm pretty confident on. Playboy, what's going on? What up, man? Welcome to the stream, man. So I'm pretty confident in Montel Jackson actually winning this one. This guy is 17 and 0. Yeah, that's true, but who has he? Like, I don't feel like he has faced anyone like Montel Jackson. What are we talking about? Okay, we're talking about Montel Jackson versus Daniel Marcos, the upcoming fight. Boxing, no, no, we're talking MMA. So Montel Jackson has beaten Damon Blackshear, Rani Yahya, and Julio Arce in his last three fights. Okay, last four fights. JP Buys. Um, he's actually on a decent streak. I think he's on a five-fight win streak. Actually, five-fight knockout. Okay, no, no. In his last five fights, he has had one, two, three knockouts out of five wins. That's not too bad. And I feel like even though some of the people that has been beaten for me personally are not the highest level, beating Damon Blackshear I think it's a pretty good win. However, even though in that particular fight I picked Montel Jackson, I felt like that fight happened in a way that didn't allow us to know how good Montel Jackson is, because I wish they had exchanged a little bit more, because that particular fight ended in a couple of seconds. If I yeah, it ended in about 18 seconds. So for me, even though I still feel confident in Montel Jackson actually winning, I still feel confident in Montel Jackson's striking abilities and everything else. I still would have liked that fight to play out a little bit in order for me to actually see if you've beaten someone or not. Ian Gary said something leading up to the fight with Carlos Prates. He said, if someone knocks you out, right, you can make the excuse that I was caught, right? And which is true. Like, you can actually say, oh my God, I was caught. Like, he didn't actually beat me, right? And then after that, he went on to say that he prefers to dominate someone for 5 rounds, so that that person cannot say, well, I was caught. Like, if someone outclasses you for 5 rounds or for 3 rounds, then you can't make the excuse that, well, I was on my off night or whatever the case is. So that's basically why I would have liked the fight between Montel Jackson and Damon Blackshear to play out at least for the first round and maybe get the knockout in the second round. But nonetheless, that was a good. So let's go to Daniel Marcos. Daniel Marcos in his last fight beat Adrian Yanez, John Castaneda, Aori Quilan, um, Wow, Davy Grant and Oliveira. I forgot his actual name. So he won via decision, via TKO versus Oliveira, via split decision versus Davy Grant, via stoppage, um, yeah, via stoppage against Aori Quilan, via unanimous decision versus John Castaneda, and via split decision versus Adrian Yana. Damn, that makes me want to pick. That makes me want to pick Daniel Mark, to be honest, because in all honesty, when we look at the level of competition, I feel like Daniel Marcos has been facing better competition than Montel Jackson, to be honest. Um, it makes me worry a little bit about my pick, but I still feel like Montel Jackson is the all-round better fighter. I think he's going to be able to outclass Daniel Marcos. Even though I still maintain that Daniel Marcos has been fighting better competition, which worries me a little bit. Montel Jackson has a massive reach advantage. I mean, Daniel Marcos has like a 69-inch reach, when Montel Jackson has a 75.5-inch reach. That's like a 6.5-inch advantage in a fight that I think is going to play out on the feet. So having a 6.5-inch reach is going to influence significantly how the fight plays out. As far as finishing abilities, I mean, I think Montel Jackson is probably going to be the one who finishes the fight if the fight ever ends. Um, Daniel Marcos has like a 47% finishing rate, when Montel Jackson has a 64% finishing rate, which is not that great, but it's significantly more than 47. So as far as finishing abilities, I feel like Montel Jackson is going to be a little bit better. On the feed, Daniel Marcos has a lot of volume. He throws a lot. What about Marcos Updog? Um, I'm breaking down the fight between Montel Jackson and Daniel Marcos. So, as far as striking output, obviously Daniel Marcos is going to have the advantage. I think he throws a little bit more than Montel Jackson. As far as the striking abilities, technical striking, I don't know, man. I think both of them are really good technical strikers. The fact that even though it was a split decision against Adrian Yanez, the mere fact, even whether you think Daniel Marcos lost or not, the mere fact that Daniel Marcos was able to go to a split decision with Adrian Yanez is actually an impressive achievement, in my opinion, because it goes to, in my opinion, I think that Adrian Yanez is a decent striker. So that also shows Daniel Marcos's ability to actually strike, you know. So if I were to choose between the both of them, who I think is a little bit better technically, I'd go with Montel Jackson, but I don't think it's going to be by much. So on the feed, Montel Jackson is leaps and bounds better as far as defensive striking, or rather, as far as his defense when it comes to striking. So when you look at Daniel Marcos gets hit quite a lot, but at the same time, it's easy to be defensively good when you're not facing a lot of good strikers on your come up. Like I said at the beginning, I don't feel like Montel Jackson, even though I picked Montel Jackson, I don't feel like Montel Jackson has faced high level competition, especially as compared to Daniel Marcos. I think Daniel Marcos has faced better competition. So it's easy for me to say, well, Montel Jackson is better defensively, when he has been fighting the same level of competition as Daniel Marcos. It's kind of like saying, well, you were fighting Israel Adesanya, and Israel Adesanya hit you a lot, and then I was fighting Bone and I didn't get hit that much. So even though you might not have been touched when you were fighting Bo Nickel is not the same level of striker as Israel Adesanya. So that's one of the challenging things about actually making this pick. I feel like from what I've seen, Montel Jackson is significantly better. but at the same time, against what level of competition? When you minus Damon Blackshear, I mean, Montel Jackson has not beaten that many good opponents, so that worries me a little bit. But as far as what I've seen so far, Montel Jackson is going to be better defensively. Um, he has a reach advantage, and it's going to give him a massive, massive advantage, especially in the striking exchanges. For someone who's so good defensively, to have an advantage of a 6.5-inch reach advantage on the feet, I think it's going to play a significant role in how this fight plays out. And because of that, on the feet, I'm going to give a heavy, heavy advantage to Montel Jackson, despite the fact that I'm still very critical of the kind of opponents that he's faced. And then on the ground, let's actually take a look at how the fight plays out on the ground. I think on the ground, Montel Jackson is going to be better. So if maybe things don't go well on the feet for him, I think he has the option to take the fight to the ground. He shoots probably three times more than Daniel Marcos does. He's a lot more successful with his takedowns. Even though I think Daniel Marcos has good takedown defense, I still feel like Montel Jackson has decent takedown entries. But like I was saying at the beginning, it's easy to look like an elite fighter when you're fighting people who are not that good. When you, like I said, when you minus Damon Blackshear, and you look at what do you call it, Montel Jackson's record or people that he's beaten, it's not as impressive. It needs Damon Blackshear, and even the Damon Blackshear fight, I was criticizing it a lot. I feel like it ended too quickly. I feel like I would have liked for Montel Jackson to at least knock him out at the end of the first round so that I can see how he does defensively in a fight. But nonetheless, I guess we'll just have to we'll just have to wait and see. My subscribers and I picked Montel Jackson. Um, Let me just summarize my reasons, and then we can go to the next fight. So, in summary, I'll read your comments before I leave. In summary, the reason I think Montel Jackson is going to win, number one, he has a reach advantage. Within a fight that's going to be on the feet, Montel Jackson has a reach advantage, which is a 6.5-inch reach. So if he wants to just pick him apart from a distance, he can easily do that, right? As far as who I think is going to be the more technically better striker, it's going to be Montel Jackson. As far as finishing abilities, it's going to be Montel Jackson. As far as striking defense, it's going to be Montel Jackson. The only advantage I see for Daniel Marcos on the feet is his volume. Daniel Marcos throws a lot more than Montel Jackson, but when it comes to reach, 6.5-inch reach advantage, Montel Jackson. When it comes to defense, striking defense, Montel Jackson. Finishing ability, Montel Jackson. Technical striking, Montel Jackson. Volume and output, Daniel Marcos. On the ground, still Montel Jackson, who shoots more takedowns. It's Montel Jackson, who has better takedown entries and who is a little bit more successful with his takedowns. Montel Jackson, who has better takedown defense. That's the advantage That's the only advantage I would give to Daniel Marcos in this particular, or rather on the ground, would be his takedown defense. I think he's a little bit better defensively than Montel Jackson on the ground. So, as a whole, in an MMA fight, the only advantages I give to Daniel Marcos is his striking volume and takedown defense. And for me, that's not enough to actually pick Daniel Marcos, despite the fact that I still feel like Daniel Marcos has faced better competition. And I still feel like Montel Jackson has not been tested enough. And normally, when a fight is like that, it ends up going to a decision because you have someone who's been facing high level competition and then someone who hasn't been facing. I mean, he hasn't been facing trash cans, but he hasn't been facing the same level of opposition, like the same talent. Like when you look at Daniel Marcos, he's been fighting people like Rani Yahya. He's been fighting people like Adrian Yanez. Yeah, I forgot some names, but when you compare it to Montel Jackson's um, record, I mean, the only name there is the Mont Blackshear, which is good, but it's not good enough. So I'm still a little bit more skeptical. But there's a fight that I'm, if there's a person that I'm confident on this particular card, on this whole card, that is going to win, I think it's going to be Montel Jackson. I think this is going to be my lock on this particular card. Even though I know that Daniel Marcos is on a 23 fight win streak, when you combine his amateur wins, he's on a 23 fight win streak, and when you just focus on his professional wins, he has like 17. Obviously, he's undefeated. Damon Blackshear is on like a 5 fight win streak or something like that. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see how this one plays out. I'm confident in. That's why I'm saying Bargain Montel Jackson is my lock. I'm confident in him, but I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. I'm a little bit worried because I feel like Montel Jackson has not faced the best level of competition apart from Damon Blackshear. Let me see. Let me respond to you guys. Even though some of you have left homework, Montel Jackson is so inactive. He had a quick KO over Damon, and in that time, Damon fought like 3 times. Yeah, that's one of the things that worry me, to be honest. YFX Marco's gonna win, KO him. I don't know about KO, but I mean, I think Marcos has a shot. Um, Matthew, what about Marcos Abdo? Okay, I'm going to go to the next fight. I think it's Steven. Uh, yeah, I think it's Cameron Smotherman versus Serhi Sidi, and then after that, I'm going to break down Jeremy Stevens versus Mason Jones. So if you want to join me, I'm going to start another stream right now. And if you want to watch my other breakdowns of the main event, co-main event, and another fight I did yesterday, you can just go to the live section of the channel. Every single fight that I've broken down will be there. I'm going to break down I break down every single fight on every single card, every single week. So so far, I've broken down 3 fights, the main event, co-main event, and another one. So go to the live section if you want to catch up and join me. I'm going to start another stream now. Deuces.